Okay, so here we are, LaYinka Sumayah, our first episode of Honesty Talk. Wow, it's happening. So let's kind of rewind. When we got together and we decided to do this, and we were thinking about a name, you know, we went through various different names and then we settled on Honesty Talk. Why Honesty Talk? And what does Honesty Talk mean to you now as we start this first episode?
I think for me, it's just about being real. And tea, because, you know, tea's life for you. Tea's life. But just to be real, honest, and to bring to the table matters that are meaningful, to start conversations, and to open up a platform where we can just be real. Because we're so used to, you know, masking, to pretending, hiding, you know, that this is, inshallah, a platform to be honest around tea and talk.
Yeah, I felt the same. I think that in the things that we watch and see, whenever we see Muslim women, it's really formal and kind of reserved. And I thought about the conversations that you have with people when you meet in private and how much depth there is. And oftentimes we would say things like, oh, we should have recorded this. I wish we could share this level of depth with people, and kind of, you know, these conversations need to be had. So that's what this is. It's an opportunity to do that.
Do you think that we as Muslim women are reserved in a private setting as well, though? Or is it just when we're in the public realm that we're more reserved? Because I think that, see, without a doubt, you know, there is a lack of conversation by Muslim women that's real within the public realm. Yeah. Okay. But I also find that when sisters get together in a private setting, are they completely real? Are they vulnerable? Are they open? Are they honest? I wouldn't say that it's private versus public. And I think that even within the private setting, we feel that we have to have this certain front, this certain persona.
A way of being.
Yeah, well, what is that? Where is that coming from? Judgment by the others?
Yeah, judgment, but also, I guess, it has to be a reflection of how we feel about ourselves. You know, we feel a certain way about ourselves. We don't want other people to see us like that. Up goes the mask. Right. I'm going to pretend to be this super confident, super comfortable, super whatever. And you often see, actually, those people who are the loudest, and they have got some serious insecurities because they feel like they need to kind of mask it, you know, with this way of being that they hope will be more appeasing to other people. I don't think, and I see online as well, not just like public thing, but you know, like if you're in Facebook groups or whatever, even the struggle there to be real. And I've been in non-Muslim spaces and they're like,
wide open.
And you know, in Muslim spaces on Facebook, they're still like,
I wonder if that's because we feel under pressure.
To do what though?
Well, to be this ideal Muslimah.
We have
to represent, to be this ideal Muslimah. And I wonder actually where that comes from, you know?
I think, you know, when I think about it, I think, and this is something that first of all, you know, for me personally, when I think about public versus private, when you were saying in private also people put on a front, but I thought it's like, but who are you surrounded by in private that you still have to put on a front? For me, I'm so selective about the people that I'm with, so the people who I spend time with privately are the people who I can be myself with. So that's the distinction. The public is the public, I have a role, but in private, I am just myself. So like, it depends. If you're in a space where you feel safe, then you can totally open up. And on the thing of judgment, like, the idea that if I'm gonna be speaking to you and sharing my thoughts, I have to know that I'm not gonna be attacked. There's not gonna be a negative pushback. Are the people who are listening to me ready to hear what I have to say, or am I gonna rub them the wrong way and bring up stuff and, you know, get a lot of flack because my being honest is getting under their skin. So are people receptive? Are they ready to even hear that?
I think we've moved. I think Muslim women have moved, and we've definitely progressed in that. But there are some topics that I feel that it's still, you know, we're not ready. We're not ready to discuss them openly and honestly. And like you said, the fear of being judged, the fear of being noticed, as in, you know, okay, so this is actually what's going on within you. This is what you actually think. We have this fear of others. And it kind of begs the question, well, then are we kind of living and interacting for people, or are we kind of owning our own story and being comfortable with sharing that with others? And I feel a lot of sisters, you know, even in a social setting where it's comfortable and it's relaxed, they're very conscious of how other sisters are going to perceive them, you know? And it goes back to, you know, what I just said. They feel that they have to be this religious, pious Muslim woman who doesn't sin, who doesn't make mistakes, and who thinks along certain lines.
But then even that definition of pious Muslim woman, that's the meaning surrounding that strips off so many things. You can't laugh, you can't do this, you can't have fun, you can't la 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 la. So they strip all of those things, but then you see the dilemma where sisters have lost themselves. They have got to the point where they've masked themselves so much that they'll look in the mirror and they don't even know who they are.
And that's on the rise. That is on the rise.
And in this desire to find themselves again, they strip away from a religion.
They take it off. It was the problem in the first place.
It's like one extreme to the other, right?
Where that's not, you know, that's not necessarily even the case. That thing about wanting to be real, wanting to be ourselves, does that then mean that it's incompatible with being a Muslim woman? Does it mean that in being vulnerable, being honest and open? But then if you think about it really, what you were saying earlier when you were saying only people fear themselves being seen, but often they're hiding from their own selves. They're still hiding from themselves. You know, they haven't owned their truth, who they are, what they like, what they don't like, etc., etc. And that's a massive and huge dilemma.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think thinking about that, I think a lot of Muslim women, when they start practicing or when they, you know, they embrace Islam, their focus is so fixated upon becoming this ideal believer that they ignore the fact that they need to grow as a human being, you know, with their own personal likes, their own personal dislikes, you know, kind of enjoying the process of developing as a person. And so, you know, when, you know, they kind of have an awakening that I don't know who I am, they look in the mirror and say, who am I? What has happened to my life? I think it's because we somehow, and I'm not sure how this has happened, somehow we've separated the two journeys. Being a Muslim woman is one, being a person is another, when actually we need to merge the two. And then when that happens, when we merge the two and we grow as a Muslim woman, as an individual Muslim woman, then we won't have to come to the point where we have to choose. And that's what's happening with many sisters. Because they decided to just focus on their growth as a Muslim woman, you know, when they do have this awakening, they look and they say, oh my gosh, who am I? What's happened to my life? They feel that they have to completely disregard that. Off comes the hijab and they go the opposite way. It doesn't need to be a choice of the two. And I think, you know, I guess this discussion and honesty talk is about us being open and real and honest with our own journeys. And I think for me, when we do that, that's when we grow in our relationship with Allah Azza wa Jal. That's when we grow as a believer. When we separate the two, there's conflict there.
Do you know the beauty of this particular gathering is that each one of us have gone on our own individual journeys, and we're still journeying.
Yes.
And that just brings me so much joy, because we have seen each other flourish. We have seen the paths, we've seen our highs, we've seen the lows, and we've embraced it all. And I think that's what many sisters struggle to do, to embrace all the aspects of that growth, because it's not always going to be pretty, it's not always going to be comfortable, it's not always going to be like rah rah, yay, woo.
It's not going to be appreciated as well, and sometimes it's not appreciated by those closest to them.
They haven't reached that level of being integrated themselves, so it really, they push back.
You get the pushback.
They push back,
especially
and you're punished for it.
Especially when there's kind of like a possible loss of some sort in terms of relationships or closeness. You know, someone is growing and I'm still here.
Yeah, they're left behind.
Oh my God, she's going without me. You're now too arrogant. You think you're too nice. You're like, wait, hold on. I'm just moving. Yeah.
Yes.
I think also the fear of like others, you know, whether that's family, husbands, friends, sisters, that somehow by them owning their own story and being true to themselves, that will distance them from Islam. When I don't see that. I don't know about you guys, but I only see taking that approach enhancing your faith. You know, but there is a real heavy fear, you know, from others, that if you kind of step outside of your shell, you know, if you are yourself and you kind of step away from this bubble. That somehow you're moving away from your deen.
You'll get lost out there in the wild world, you know. Don't go out there.
You're different from that perceived ideal image. You're moving away from that, so that means you're moving to you're moving away from Islam.
You're moving towards something dangerous. And just like you also mentioned, they've seen a lot of times where there is a real conflict in people, and that when they find themselves, they leave their faith. So it's almost like this is the path. If you head in that direction, that's what's going to happen to you. It's like it's automatically connected. And also what we were saying about the social pressure to feel the need to put on like a front or a facade and hide, is that you also see that the community is still at the level where they rejoice in people's pain and gossip, and this is still where we're at. So if I show weakness, I'm just making myself fodder. They're going to eat me alive. So it's a self-protection.
You know, I feel that there is that there's a need, like, you know, the types of posts that I've been posting on Facebook, where I've been really kind of honest with struggles that I've been through and where I'm at, and you know, just kind of like my thought patterns. And I've had many sisters come to me and say, subhanallah, I really related to that resonated with me, and it's almost like they're saying, keep going, because I want to get there too. I need this. I want to worship Allah as me. I want to live as a Muslim, but as me. With your own journey, and it's not that it's ended, it's still going for all of us, but in our journeys towards being our true selves, keeping it real, being honest and vulnerable with who we are, what would you say have been the challenges? Deep sigh.
Yeah. I think that, just like you said, when we haven't processed something for ourselves, it's hard to go outward with it. So I do that. I have to go inside and fix and tidy up, and then I can talk about it and share and discuss. So if it's something that I'm still in the thick of, I'm not ready to open it up to public anything, participation, scrutiny, feedback, nothing. I need to figure it out first. And so I think that part of being in the middle of the storm, you have to get out of it first, and then you can reflect and all of that.
Absolutely. Because when you're in the middle of the storm, it's just about survival. It's just about survival.
We were talking about that on the train this morning.
Yeah,
like
survival mode.
You get hit some places in your life, and you're just like, I just need to get to the other side. Everything else can.
And that's okay. You know, many sisters are at that stage where they are just about surviving, and that's okay because that's the stage that you're at. I think, and sometimes even after passing that stage, when the storm has settled, they just need to catch their breath, and that's all right too. You know, I think it's, you know, it's about being comfortable with where you're at, and that's very much keeping it real. You know, and allowing time for the stage that you're at, because you know what, if you've just been through a storm, right, and it's just settled, just enjoy the view, enjoy.
I like that,
right? You know, enjoy the view. Just to stay with the fact that it's settled and it's calm now. You know, we don't need to now start thinking about, you know, what's next. And I think, I don't know about you, but I sometimes feel that, and again, I don't know if we're doing this to ourselves or if it's as a result of other people, but we'll just let that siren, the police, you know, I don't know if we're doing it to ourselves or it's other people, but are we kind of rushing through our stages? And if we are rushing through our stages, why? Are we making other sisters feel that, you know, khalas, once the test is over, you need to get on with your life, you know? Or if they are kind of, we called it transitioning, right? But if they are journeying towards being true to themselves, are we saying, you know, hurry up and just become already?
Get the outcome. I think also because, like, just like you said, as a community, we're becoming more aware and we're getting into self-help and development. And so I think there's also, it's kind of cool to be aware. So people are also using the idea of sharing as it shows that I'm like advanced, and so they like sharing sometimes because it's like it's another front that I'm so, you know, developed. I'm so mature and emotionally tuned in, and but the need to say I'm the finished product also is pushing the, just like you said, it's not giving room.
And we're never a finished product.
To say and that I've matured, I've finished, I did it.
That's the myth. That's the myth, is that there's the finish line, but there is no real finish line, because there's always going to be work to be done, and Allah will always send something our way.
Absolutely,
just to show you what you think you're done. Okay, there you go.
That's right. And you know, and those, and you know, when we're sent, you know, those tests and those struggles and difficulties, subhanallah, it is definitely to learn something deeply profound about ourselves. It's definitely a means of growth, you know, and
that's why you should enjoy it. Enjoy the journey rather than, because how then can you come out with the lessons if you don't take your time to go through the journey? If you're trying to, like, okay, I just want to get to the finish line, you miss out on the gems, you know.
But if you're not a feeler, it's so hard. Like, I'm not a feeler. I like to do. I want to rush and be finished and sign it, stamp, get a visa and fly. Like, I want to be gone. I want to be finished. So telling me I have to sit and I have to be, and I have to like let this thing pass in its own time, that is, that's painful.
What's painful about it?
The being made to face the emotion and process it and let it wash through is I'm being trained to do that.
So what do you otherwise do then?
I want to do things. I want to make moves. I don't want to dwell. I don't languish. Like, these are the rules. I don't do that stuff. I don't do dying. Like, I'm not doing that. So to say that I have to go through that and know that the growth comes through weathering the storm. So this is the lesson. And as you go, you think you're getting closer to being finished, and something else comes and you get a little more.
What would you say, what would your advice be to sisters who are kind of going through their own journey, and you know, they want to be true to themselves, they want to worship Allah as their true selves? What would you advise them? What would you say is like your best gem to offer them as they...
No pressure. Your best gem. I think really going back to your purpose. That is key, because your purpose here is greater than who you are, you know? And when we get in touch with our purpose, we will find Allah.
Right. Sumayah?
That it's okay, like we were saying, to be where you're at, and that struggling doesn't make you any less of a believer or a good person. You don't need to attach judgment to the phase that you're in. Allah knows, He still sees you, He still hears you, it's still good.
I think for me, I think it's stripping everyone and everything away and just realizing that this journey is about you and your Lord. And when you have that approach and that perception, you can only just be real, right? So that's episode 1 done. Nice talk. No tea though.
It was too good.
Talk was too good.
Yeah, I mean, you can only help someone that wants to be helped, right? And it's very painful for us, the observer.
Are they putting on a front? That they're hurting, like they've got so much going on, like there's chaos around them.
You know, whenever you hear talking about people going through a struggle, it's, I accept Allah's decree and I'm, you know, happy to go through the struggle and the believer is tested. And this is true. But when people are in a low, they're not in a place to hear that right now.
I would go further. They're functioning in that way because they are scared to admit to themselves that something is wrong.